Hello, so today we are going to be looking at expanding brackets. Now you may have done this a bit in the past, so this might be a bit of revision, and some of you would have looked at it on Education Perfect also. But expanding brackets, this is about multiplying out our brackets. So I've got here 3x plus 7 in the bracket. This is meaning that 3 is times by that bracket. So we've got 3 and we're multiplying that by the contents of that bracket. Now how do we do that? You might remember that we have to times that 3 by each of the terms within that bracket. So I've got 3 times x, that is 3x. 3 times 7 is 21. Okay, so I've got here 6 times 3x and 6 times negative 5. 6 times 3x is 18x. 6 times negative 5 is negative 30. Now you look at these and you say, well, I don't have any like terms, so I can't simplify that anymore. So let's keep going. I've got here 4x outside of the brackets and 5 minus 2y within the brackets. So remembering that I have to times that by everything within the brackets. So that's 4x times by 5. And 4x times by negative 2y. Put my equal sign down there, remembering that we work down the page, not across. So 4x times by 5. So 4 times 5 is 20, so that's 20x. 4 times negative 2 is negative 8. X times y is xy. All right, so for our next one, I've got 3x times by 2x, 3x times by 5, so 3x times by 2x, 3 times 2 is 6, x times x is x squared. 3x times by 5 is, 3x times by positive 5 is positive 15x. Okay, so now I've got this negative term outside the brackets. What do we do there? The same thing we were doing before. We have to times everything within that bracket by what's outside the bracket, because this is negative 6x times by that bracket times by what is in that bracket. So negative 6x times by 3. So negative 6 times by 3 is negative 18. X, negative 6x times by positive x, negative 6x squared. Now remembering these are not like terms because that is just x, that is x squared, so we can't group any like terms there and simplify. Our next one, we have negative 2x times by negative 6, negative 2x times by negative 7. So negative 2x times by negative 6 is positive 12x. Negative 2x times by negative 7, so that's positive 14x squared. All right, and now we come to when we multiply two brackets together. So this is representing this bracket times by this bracket. So that whole bracket, the entirety of what's inside it, has to be times by what's inside that bracket. So what do we do here? There's the FOIL method, which is what you'll see illustrated in the book, but basically what it is this. I look at this first term, x, I times it by the first term in that second bracket, which is 3w. Then I have to times it by the second term in the second bracket. So that's x times by 3w, so 3xw. Then x times by 4d is plus 4dx. Then, might do this in a different colour, I go 2y times by that first term in the second bracket, then 2y times by the second term in that second bracket. So 2y times by 3x is plus 6wy, and then 2y plus 4d is 8dy. And there's no like terms there, so we can't do any simplification there. So let's look at this next one. Again, I have to times each of the terms in that bracket, in that first bracket, by each of the terms in the second bracket. So you could think of this as you've got to go 7m times by 3x minus 4y, and then do 2p times by 3x minus 4y, and work it all out that way, what we were doing before. Let's all do that just in one shot. So 7m times by 3x. So 7 times 3 is 21. M times x is mx. 7m times by negative 4y. So 7 times by negative 4 is negative 28. M times y is my. Okay, and then we can look at this second term. So 2p times by 3x. So 2p times by 3x is positive 6px. Then 2p times by negative 4y, so 2p times by negative 4y is negative 8py. And again, there's no like term, so I can't do any simplification there, so that's my final answer. Okay, let's look at this next one. I've got x times x, then x times 5. So that's x times x is x squared, x times 5 is 5x, then 2 times x is 2x, 2 times 5 is 10. Now looking at this, you'll see there's some like terms there. So that is x squared. 5x plus 2x is 7x plus 10. And that's my final answer. So this next one, I've got x times 2x. So x times 2x is 2x squared. X times negative 2 is negative 2x. 3 times 2x is 6x. And 3 times negative 2 is negative 6. Okay, so looking at this, do I have any like terms? Yes, I do. Here they are. So that is 2x squared plus 4x, because negative 2x plus 6x is 4x, minus 6. just a couple more. Okay, so now I've got 2x times by 3x, so that's 6x squared. 2x times by negative 5 is negative 10x. Negative 4 times by 3x, so negative 4 times by 3 is negative 12x, and negative 4 times by negative 5, that becomes positive 20. Then we look for any like terms, and we can see some there. So that's 6x squared. Negative 10x minus 12x is negative 22x plus 20. Okay, so now I've got negative x times by x. That gives me negative x squared. Negative x times by 6 is positive, sorry, that's wrong, isn't it? What did I do wrong there? I forgot the negative sign. So negative x times by positive 6 is negative 6x. So 3x, so 3 times x is 3x, and 3 times 6 is 18. So that's negative x squared. Negative 6 plus 3x, sorry, negative 6x plus 3x is negative 3x plus 18. Okay, so you've got the work set. If you are 3-star, you probably might not want to do the arrows. If you are 2-star, you might want to start off doing the arrows and then move away from it. If you're 1-star, that's perfectly fine to always drawing those arrows. Thank you.